He made a comment to us a couple months ago that he hired you first before you had to be coordinator. His logic being, if the new D coordinator didn't want you, he had to find a new defensive coordinator. I just want to ask you, how did that all go? When did he reach out to you? What did you say? What was your conversation like with him?
It's like every coaching job. You talk to a few people, and somebody asks you if you're interested in the job, and you say yes, and then you go past a little bit of that. So I don't really know the time, and that's kind of his deal. But I'm happy to be here.
More so like your reaction when Mark Richt calls you and says,
It's cool. It's pretty cool. We got to the airport, and me and my wife were like, that's Mark Richt picking us up. Nice. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Coach, cool. You've been at this for so long, and I asked Mark this question too. How have you never been a defensive coordinator? You've been so good at what you've done for so long. I wondered, was it something that never interested you, or?
I'd asked myself that question a few times over the years, but the truth is, God's got a plan. If His plan is for me to be defensive line coach the rest of my life, if He's got a plan for me to be coordinator when I'm later on in life, head coach, then great. If not, it's okay too. I'm happy doing what I do. I love doing it, and I just want to be the best at whatever I do. So that's what I'm trying every day, with God's help.
Have you had offers though in the past to be D coordinator?
There's been some talks and stuff like that, but it's in the end, it's got to be a pretty good job.
What's sort of your state of defensive line address, like if you were going to give it, how do you think these guys are coming along for you?
Well, I think they're progressing about like I figured. I think we have some talent. I think that we have some guys that look, like you want them to look. They play like you want them to play in terms of athleticism. Now it's just get them to do the right things and do them the right way. And so far, the guys have progressed in a way that I've expected. I haven't been disappointed. They bought in. They're working hard. They're teaching each other the drills now. So they're making it their own, and I really feel like it's going to be successful because the guys are bought into it. And haven't really fought me on anything, to be honest with you.
Manny said that he wants to have 4 defense tackles and 4 defense ends rotate in. Do you see that depth available right now among your guys?
Yeah, I do. And but we don't want to put somebody in the game if they're going to go in there and hurt the team. If they're really not going to, they're going to help the defense still stay up to that one standard that we want. So it's still a pretty high level for those guys that rotate in the game. And I think if you see one guy playing a lot, one guy playing a little, one guy's a lot better than the other one. If you see 2 guys playing even, it's because they're playing even. Michael Sam, this is a good example. Michael Sam and Marcus Golden. Marcus Golden didn't hardly play the year before. He was a backup defensive end. Marcus Golden, I put him in a rotation of 6-2. Well, by the end of the year, they were 4-4, and really Marcus Golden was playing as good or better than Michael Sam towards the end of the year. So these guys, they earn that rotation, they earn that spot, and they earn their first team, they earn the second team. And if we can go 10 guys, if we can go 8 guys, 9 guys, 10 guys, then we'll try to do that. We'll try to utilize the guys' talents the best that we can, and then we'll try to also optimize. If we are in a certain pass rush package, we want to have the 3 best pass rushers in there, whoever they are. If it's a goal line defense, we might need some bigger guys in there, and that kind of stuff. So we're just trying to get these guys. They're all game ready, and it'll pay dividends this year, and it'll pay dividends down the road because everybody's got plenty of experience.
I mean, not to hammer you down, but so you do see 4 and 4 right now that are similar, where they can split reps and not have one guy go most of the game.
It's probably going to be somewhere in there close. It depends on each position. It depends on each guy. It depends on how I feel about each guy. But there's a guy that's been lining up with the 2s right now. It's Trent Harris, and Trent Harris is producing at a higher level in terms of practice. He's producing at a higher level than anybody else in our defensive line. So, it doesn't go unnoticed, trust me.
How confident are you in guys like Chad said he was really motivated entering the season? Do you see that in him and also Muhammad on the other edge?
I do. These guys are like ready to work. They're out here to get it. Chad is he's leading every drill. He's you don't have to question ever. His toughness is there. He's been doing a lot of things in the spring. I may have initially questioned. He's been a trooper, man, and he's been a great teammate, all the way around.
How much teaching have you had to do, maybe from the ground up, or was there a base already to work with?
I teach a certain way, so the way that I teach the guys would be the way that I'm going to teach them next year. So I always start from the ground up. It's not like I added on top of what they did. It's kind of like I wipe the table clean and I reset the plate. And I'll do that every year for the guys because that's how we all learn. Because you got to be good at the basics before you can be good at the other stuff. You know, if we don't learn how to get off the ball, we'll never have a great pass rush. We'll never have a great penetrating defensive line. We won't have the tackle for loss. So right there, getting off the ball sounds easy, but it's hard, and the guys forget that sometimes. You know, we got to focus on the basics before we get the other things down, and that's an every year thing.
Chad Thomas came in as a 5-star kid. I know those are just recruiting rankings, but you've coached a lot of talented guys. In terms of the gifts that he has, is he among the best? Is he worthy of that ranking, you think?
You know, no offense to anybody here.
Right.
Okay. I do football for a living, right? The guys that do these recruiting services, they do recruiting for a living, but they're not football coaches, right? And to be honest with you, they don't necessarily know exactly what we're looking for in a defensive end. It may be different than what somebody else is looking for in a defense end, and you know, depending on defense structure and particular preferences, stuff like that. But with all that being said, so I don't really care about the stars. Charles Harris is a kid that I coached last year at Missouri that is projected to go in the first round right now as a junior, and he was a 0-star guy. We found him at the end, but he had the right athletic characteristics and unbelievably hard work, which we couldn't know until we got him. So I'm not big into the star ratings, but all that being said, Chad's tall, he's fast, he can change direction really well, and he's strong. So those are all good things. We like that, and so I can see why he was highly rated by a lot of people, because he has a lot of physical talent.
See Joe Jackson kind of becoming Chad Thomas, I guess, for lack of a better comparison.
Joe Jackson's a different guy, but Joe's going to be really good too someday. You know, sooner's better than later. So I got to get him there sooner.
What do you see early out of Joe?
I like the kid. He works hard. He's committed. He's tough. He's a yes or no sir kid. He's willing to learn. He's coachable, and he's talented. So all those things go together to make a pretty good football player. You know, usually guys come in here. Sometimes they have to learn work ethic. You know, when they come out of high school, because they get pushed out here because the competition's higher than it ever was in high school. So they got to learn work ethic. You know, and he's been working his butt off. Sometimes they have to learn how to, like, they can't handle the defense. It's too much. He can handle the defense. So he's been doing really well.
The athleticism that RJ brings to the defensive tackle spot, is it unique or is it special in any way?
Well, I think that's what we're looking for. Like, we're looking for, like, if you so everybody can understand here, Warren Sapp was a 3 technique, so he plays RJ's position with Tampa Bay Buccaneers, won the Super Bowl. Obviously, he's Pro Bowl thousands of times. Okay, I always say with utmost confidence, RJ is not Warren Sapp. Okay, but that's what we're looking for, that type of athleticism in our defensive line. You know, that's the ultimate goal that you're looking for. And he is athletic, and he can run. He's got good length, so he can make plays that sometimes other guys can't make because he can get his body over them.
All right, last question.
Chad was saying that, you know, RJ's a guy that's been a little more vocal and not afraid to kind of push and talk to some of the other guys about what they're doing wrong. Is that something that you like to see other
Oh, yeah, absolutely, because we don't have any seniors in our group, right? And so if you have a bunch of guys that are afraid to say anything because they're not the older guys, then we're going to go nowhere, right? So, but, you know, you also got to be a team player and say things the right way and, you know, do better job of communicating. But I think our guys have been doing a good job and holding each other accountable, which is the big thing.